All right, guys, I want to welcome you back for another episode of Between the Mics with Alicia and Chris. Today we have Carrington Crothers. So I hope you guys had your lunch already because we're going to talk a little bit about product photography as well as products, but Carrington focuses specifically on food as well as some other things, but that's your primary, correct?
Definitely.
All right, cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your company, what it is that you do, and now we'll kick it off from there.
Yeah, so I own Prospect Street Studio, which is an e-commerce photography agency, and I'm primarily working with food and beverage brands. I'm really heavy in the CPG space. So a lot of this is figuring out how do you use imagery online? Is it on your website or marketing materials, or how are you promoting yourself? And figuring out what the strategy is behind the photography before you put it out there. So really figuring out, all right, how you use the imagery as a growth tool, not just as content that you can throw out there that people will see for 24 hours. Yeah. Really thinking about the long term and really going from there. So I like to work with anywhere from the emerging brand state or larger food and beverage brands.
I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions in regards to imagery, right? Because I think sometimes people just feel they can take pictures and throw it up there and it's like, there we go, check the box. But the more that I've learned about it, there's so much more involved in it. So why don't you kind of touch really kind of with some of those specific things like that you should be looking for? And you could just kind of just broad level it rather than get into the nitty gritty, because that's obviously why people will hire you. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, it really depends on where a brand is and what stage they're at. So I work with a lot of emerging brands. So we're really trying to figure out, okay, where are you right now and how are we going to grow the brand? A lot of times the brands are maybe going through a rebrand, changing up their packaging, or saying, hey, we need to redo the entire website. And then that's where I come in, because I'm like, I want to work with the marketing people. I want to know what the owner is thinking, and creating out really like say, hey, that this is the homepage. This is how your hero image is going to work. This is how the store page is going to be laid out with your carousel, and really taking it at that high level, not just saying throw photos out there and hope for the best.
There is so much power in photography. So I'm constantly looking at different brands from a marketing perspective. Right. How can we help them? How can we tell their story more? And sometimes, like just like you, we kind of have that sweet spot of the brands that we work with. And I'm not going to say we get it wrong, but we get it wrong because their photos are so good that it makes their website look like they're a bigger brand than who they are. And so I can think of several hot sauce companies, and I'd outreach, be like, I want to do your marketing. I want to support you. And they'd be like, it's only me and my wife. I'm like, seriously, your photos look, they're professional. They're not AI created. They are so impactful that it just elevated the whole brand. So I'm sure you see that on both ends of like the elevation of the brand, but then also really established brands that don't invest in photography.
Definitely. I worked last year with a brand, and they were in the luxury pet space.
Okay.
And their marketer reached out to me. And he's like, we need to redo all their e-com. I did a whole call with them. I'm like, we really need to, because I would rather buy a $2 bottle of pet shampoo on Chewy.com than buy this $80 bottle. Right. You're in a luxury market. We need to show luxury. And the owner was just like, I don't think we need it. This isn't that important. Marketer was like, no, we're doing it. We did it. Halfway through the photo shoot, we're in Zoom, because he was in another country.
Okay.
And he was like, I need to tell you something. I was like, what's up? He's like, you have a customer for life. I get it now. Now we look luxury. Now we look like we're worth spending $80 on a shampoo for my dog. And I'm like, yeah, we're taking this to a whole new level. And sometimes people don't get it until they see it. And that's a really hard thing. Like, you specialize in this industry. You weren't taught to learn how to read an image.
Right.
I was.
Right.
And until you see it, you don't always get it.
No.
So it's a lot of education behind why do you actually need to be doing this?
And we're a visually driven society of like seeing things. And I personally hate going into stores. I am always online. Like even my groceries, it's a food pickup situation for me. But because of that, I'm very into the images of a product, especially food. Does this look good? How big is the bag? Like all of that stuff, I'm trying to decide if I'm purchasing it or not. So when you're talking specifically about like e-com websites, Do you see a direct correlation between really high-end photography with products versus like somebody just took it on their phone and put it up on, their Shopify site in terms of sales? Like, how has that helped?
Yeah, one is when I'm working with a brand, I'm looking at two different things. And that leads to the third, which I'll get into. The first is, how do you educate? Yep. And I tell people, like, when you have a Shopify site or your Amazon page or wherever you're selling, you're gonna have your photos on the left, your descriptions on the right. No one's reading the descriptions unless you force them to from the images. And if they don't read it, you need to be educating them on all of those hot facts in the photos. They need to get it. So I'm like, all right, let's educate. And then you have to inspire. Yeah. My way of saying that is, when you go through a store and you see a really fuzzy blanket, and you're like, I have to touch it. Yeah. That's like the ooh factor. I'm like, ooh, I really want to touch this. That's how you're inspiring. If you can figure out in your imagery how to educate and how to inspire, you're going to sell. You're going to hit that add to cart. You're going to get more sales. But you have to be strategic about what is the message you're saying in the photos. Yeah.
So you're telling a story with your eyes.
Pretty much.
I think you also have to tell the right story, right? So I think a lot of times when people go through their marketing things, one of the areas that they think they can kind of, I don't know if cutback's the right word, but maybe not spend as much, is the photo, is the video. And sometimes it's such a costly mistake, because if you put out crappy photos, people are going to think they're buying crappy products, So it's like one of those, do you spend the money? Don't you spend the money? But the investment could really be worth it. So why don't you touch upon that a little bit in regards to like making that investment? Like, how much should people be putting toward the photography part of it?
Photography?
It's a tough word.
Photography. Yes, please.
Yeah, so when a brand is starting, they're going to be in a DIY standpoint, right? And I think that is fine. But they should be sending them out to be edited properly. That is the biggest disconnect. They'll buy a light box, put the product in, and then post it on their Shopify site. I'm like, but it's not edited right. So send it out to an editor. It won't cost a lot. And that'll really help your DIY imagery. As the brand grows, when you're like, oh, I'm getting some traction, now you need to take all those images to the next level. That's when I would say, hey, start talking to a professional. When the brand is actually making some sales, you're seeing all of your graphs, all of that going in the right direction. Then start having that conversation, like, what do we need to do? If you're thinking about going through a rebrand or redoing your packaging, have to do that first. I have that conversation with people a lot where they'll call me and they're like, well, we want to redo our photos. And then partway through the conversation, like, yeah, well, maybe next year we want to do the packaging. And I'm like, so then we have to do the photo shoot twice. Within a year to do the exact same thing.
Good for you.
And I'm like,
poor investment for them.
Right. And I always say, I'm like, how about I get you in touch with people for packaging? We get the ball rolling with that. And then we do one photo shoot and do a full launch. Right. Because one, it's not worth anyone's time to redo all the exact same thing. So that's where you want to invest, but invest at the right time. And then obviously as you're growing, you want to make sure that, hey, we have new lines coming out. We have new flavors. We have a new whatever. Making sure that it's consistent. So going back to the same photographer to make sure your lighting is the same. So when you're scrolling on that store page, it's really obvious if you're like, oh, that photo, really different lighting. It stands out like a sore thumb. Yeah. So going back to the same person is really important too.
What is the best product that you were able to capture? Like one that sticks out as like, this was the coolest project that we ever got to work on.
Coolest project I've ever had to work on. That's a really tough one because I do so many different things. Out there. It's really difficult. Like my favorite client to work with is Orgain. They have the protein powders, the ready to drink shakes. They're a national brand. They are a lot of fun because we're doing something different on every photo shoot, from in studio to lifestyle to different types of models. So I'm always kept on my toes with that one. The pet brand I mentioned earlier, the luxury pet brand, that was the one that had the biggest transformation that I've ever done. Where I'm like, oh, we're really seeing this right now. Like, this is insane. Yeah. And everyone was just like, holy crap, we're a different brand right now. So from a transformation standpoint, the pet brand really stands out to me. But just from a client standpoint that I love, it's definitely working.
That's right.
Yeah. I think one thing that you brought up so we have a bunch of people that watch this. Some are marketers, some are actually business owners. And the point that you brought up about pushing back, right, on an owner, right? I believe as a professional that you should take that, I don't want to say leap of faith, but basically make a comment that puts things in perspective in the sense of like, hey, maybe you should not spend the money here and maybe you should spend it all here. You know, it's like, sometimes it's so important as professionals to let our clients know that, hey, this may not be the best bet. This could be it. So how do you go about posing those questions in a delicate way that is easily digestible to the owners or marketers?
I like this question because there have been times where we get off a call and be like, I don't think this was the right decision that the client is making. And he'd be like, they literally hired you to help them. You need to say it. And that is like a learned skill of being able to like gracefully push back and have the confidence, one, but also like the stats to back up why you're saying that it's not the right direction. So I'm really intrigued to hear those.
Yeah. So from one standpoint, I feel like this is coming from me saying, hey, maybe you should redo your packaging for the photos. Yeah. That's all coming from me doing a basic strategy call and really just diving in to really learn, okay, what is everything happening here before I take photos? Like, I want to get in deep. And as we're going through those conversations, they're thinking about so many different concepts. And usually they're like, oh, and this, oh, and this. And then I'm like, all right, we got to reel it in and talk about what is the main thing we're focusing on. And that's where I'll start to give a timeline for them and just adjust the timeline. Like, what you want to do now is still correct. We just need to put it in a different point in this project. So like, that's one way of doing it. When it comes to photos and a shot list, if a brand is like, this is what we want to do. And if I'm just like, ooh, I don't know if this is going to work, I will usually give my suggestions. I will pull from the market. And I will always say, we can try it. If you want to try something and you have an idea, and it's not going to take me all day to do it for a photo shoot, we're going to do it. I'm totally open to saying, hey, let's A/B test it. But let me start creating it and see if you even like the idea. Because I find that a lot of people, especially if they're not in the creative industry, they get this idea in their head. And they're like, Carrington, I want A, B, and C. I'm like, awesome, cool. Maybe I'm not really feeling it. I start to create it and they're just like, ooh.
Yeah, they need to see.
Maybe that wasn't a good idea. But from mentally thinking about it to actually being able to see it, it's very different.
Things,
And then we'll start to make that process. I worked with a brand and they were just, that's similar. Like, we want A, B, and C, like wide images, big scenes. Like, imagine like product on a counter, but you see the entire kitchen. So it's really little. And like, they were just like, we don't like it. We don't like it. We don't like it. I'm like, we're going to switch this, go 180. I got really close, really soft backgrounds. And they're like, we love it.
Yeah, because you still get that open, airy feeling without the product being lost in this huge space.
And I do that with clients where I'm like, we're shooting live. You get to see everything. So if you're not happy, if we're not hitting the mark, we have those conversations.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times I'm like, people want A, B, and C, but they actually want X, Y, Z. And it's figuring out how do you get them to that point. And I always find that if we start with what you want and we modify it from there.
So if someone they have a product, they have a brand, the packaging is like locked down, they're going to launch in September. They're going to launch in several months. When should they have already contacted you? So like kind of work backwards of that marketing time frame between launch, because when they launch, it's almost now you're in reactive mode instead of proactive. So when do they need to talk to you from launch date?
Yeah. So if they're launching, they're going to be now thinking about, okay, my website, my packaging, distribution, all of this stuff. There's a lot that goes into it. Once you get into anything creative, so we're talking about packaging, I want to be in that conversation because you might have photos on the packaging and now your packaging designer cannot finish the job without me. So once we're thinking anything creative, what is that team that you need? And let's get everyone on board. Like, that's a big problem that I see with a lot of brands is, hey, we're creating packaging. And then the packaging person's like, I made all this packaging, but now we need this. And now we need that. And then they're in scramble mode. Instead of saying, this is the team we need, let everyone talk, and we work out the process. Right. Like I've done things with packaging designers, and I will get the CAD, and they're like, we need something for here and here. And I'll shoot and give them a sample of like, this is what it's going to look like on the packaging, and make it very collaborative instead of saying, we'll do it later.
Right.
So even like website too, right? Of working with a marketer or web developer, being like, you were talking about the hero image of like, we are going to do an image for the hero. So like above the scroll line, and we're going to have a call to action here, which means you need to shoot a photo that doesn't get covered by my call to action.
Right.
So bringing you in early on those conversations is a game changer.
It's huge, especially like web designers, because I'm like, we need to be talking. I want to know the hierarchy. I want to know everything else that's going on with your homepage, your store page, you name it. I always say, I was like, you can't have copywriting on a website that says, let's party, and then I'm making you some dark and moody photo because they're going to clash. Yeah. And people don't always think of it that way. And I'm like, right, but if that's going to be the first thing people see when they come to your website, we need to be talking the same language. Your photo has to speak English, right? Or whatever language you're using. Oh, so you can't just say, oh, we'll take this photo and put it with this copy. That doesn't always make sense. Right. I was talking with a brand yesterday, and I went to the website, and I'm like, I have no idea what this is. Yeah. I was like, it's some type of a berry, but it's not a berry, and something to do with salty and sweet. I was like, I don't get it. Yeah. Like, and so we started scrolling, and I'm like, halfway through the homepage, I'm like, I don't understand. I'm not following the photos. I'm not following the copy. I'm like, we need to dumb it down in some way. So I was like, I'm not going to buy it if I don't get it. So we were trying to figure out, how do we visually explain what this product is and bridge that gap?
I think that's one of the most important things too, because you think about it, right? Somebody hires you to take these photos. So you're taking the time to do the research and look at the products. Your customers are not.
Yes.
Right? You literally have 3 seconds to capture their attention, get them what they want. And if you don't hit that on the head, that's it. Yeah. You know, so it's really important to kind of get that whole idea.
Yep.
So typically when you do these things and you work with customers, do you find that they have a marketing plan in place, like they have a whole team outlined, or is it kind of just taking bits and pieces here and there and kind of throwing it all together?
Depends on the size of the brand. If you're more in the emerging market, it's kind of cut and paste. We're puzzling things together, which is one reason that a lot of brands end up like working with me, because I'm the one who's saying, you guys need to be working with this person for packaging or this person for marketing. And I'm also going to help you, because I'm going to be able to say, I can call up Alicia. I can call up whoever it is, and we can have a conversation. You're not talking with a random person I don't know. And that is a really powerful thing, to have that community and be able to support people in that way. So when you do puzzle together, now the puzzle's a little easier because you have a team of people who already know each other, understand how they work.
They all play nice in the sandbox. And you're a power networker. Like, that's how we met. We met through someone like years ago. I met someone on LinkedIn who was like, you have to talk to Carrington, met you. And then there's probably 4 or 5 conversations in the last several months that we've had directly from introductions from you, whether they were potential clients or just partners to build our own ecosystem of support companies. So how did you get into like being this power net? Like, it's amazing when I was talking with you and you're like, you actually need to talk to this person and this person. You rattled off like 5 people's names and why they would be a good connection.
Yeah, I remember I used to have a studio in Marlborough. I'm in Worcester now. And a link got posted for a networking event that was basically walking distance. And I'm like, maybe I should go. And I've never gone to a networking event before. So I was sitting in the parking lot. I was so nervous. I was literally on the phone with my best friend. I'm like, I'm not going in. I'm not doing it. It's not happening. And she's like, I'm going to hang up on you and you're going in. I'm like, shoot, you're literally forcing me right now. So she basically was like, if you don't go in, I'm not talking to you. Like, and I'm like, crap, I don't want to not talk to you. So I went in, I stayed till the event ended. I did bingo or whatever event was happening with a few people that were there. And I went home at like 9 o'clock that night. And I'm like, oh, this was like 4 hours of me networking. And I just got hooked. And then I had to figure out, all right, so these random events are great, but who do I actually want to talk to? And then it's really drilling it in. And I feel like I'm still figuring that out every single day.
It changes.
Right. It changes. And it's like, all right, where are the people? Where are they going now? And following it. But just talking to people. And when you find somebody that like, if I needed help with something, I'm like, I could call you and be like, hey, I'm struggling. What are your thoughts? Right. And being able to find a community that, one, can help build you, but when you're struggling, can also help you. Right. 100%. And that's the hard part with networking. Like if you spread yourself too thin, it's like, how do you nurture that relationship? And I got addicted to it. I was just like, I want to talk to everybody. This is fun. And then I'm like, ooh, I'm exhausted. I need to narrow it down and find my people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And who do I want to keep in touch with on a regular basis? Like your name's on a sticky note on a corkboard. So I was like, so then when I'm like, all right, who haven't I talked to? I always just go back through that list.
Yeah.
Right. And it just helps you nurture the relationships, but relationships are key.
Yeah.
I did. Please. So I used to network like crazy, like 4 nights a week. I would be out at networking. This is when I was first starting the business. Same thing of like, oh my God, take like a shot of tequila, rip off the Band-Aid, and like get your tush in there. And I remember this guy, he was like teaching me how to network. And he was like, listen, we're gonna each split up. We're going to walk around for an hour. And at the end of the hour, we're going to meet back here and we're going to count up who has the most business cards. And so what I learned is that networking is so different now, but then you have to like insert yourself into the most awkward position ever, into these little pods of people that are afraid to break up. And then you kind of eavesdrop and then you like chime in like, yes. And then you like go into like your own thing. And then you like give your quick pitch. And then you have to politely do like an Irish exit and like get out of there and then go hit up the next pod. And all the time you're like grabbing the business cards. And so at the end of the night, I had like a stack, right? And this is again like pre-iPhone to like take the picture and have it automatically go in your CRM. So then that night I'd be like typing in all the people I met, trying to build the one-on-ones after. And then I would do that every single night. And I met a ton of people, maybe got jobs here and there, similar to you. I was just like, this is exhausting. I don't want to talk to this many people. I met so many like insurance brokers, financial advisors,
real estate agents,
and then marketers. We were like squirrels. They were just like everywhere. Yes. And then we do speed dating or speed networking, which is even more uncomfortable.
God, it's hard.
Oh my God. So when COVID happened and that stopped, I was like, hallelujah. Like now we could just hop on a Zoom call, or they became these like really tight communities of virtual, of like women-owned businesses, or just like food product brand businesses. And again, similar to you, is like inserting yourself into the right places and not casting this huge net. It's great to meet people, but like it's exhausting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll ask this question to both of you guys then. How do you identify that person in the room that you should be talking to? Because I agree with you. You walk in those things and there are dozens, if not hundreds of people there.
To be honest, I now, like in-person ones, I will scan the room and see which person caught my eye. Maybe it was their outfit. Maybe it was like the energy, like I saw them laughing. Whichever one looked the easiest to approach and smile, that's who I would go up to first, just to break the ice. I had no idea what the heck they did, but they at least like helped me get comfortable. And then I would get a little bit more confident. But if somebody was like really closed off, or they stay with the same person, this is why I never go to networking events with you. I never go with somebody I know, because you tend to hook together and you don't spread. And those are people I try to avoid at networking events, because like it's just harder to get into that conversation.
Definitely. Yeah, whenever I'm going, I used to do the same thing as you, where I would leave with a stack. And then like the next time, like, all right, follow up to like 42 people. And I'm like, this is exhausting. And now I usually will go to a networking event with 5 cards. I don't want to get 5 cards back. Like I want to really figure out who should I be talking to. And when you start really networking a lot, you start to know people. And people remember you if you're consistent. The second you stop, people forget you exist. But if you're consistent, I find that I go and I'll be like, oh, this person's like, Carrington, you need to go talk to Joe over there. And they'll pull me over. And that's where I'm like, all right, you're telling me to go talk to this person, Joe. And then Joe was like, hey, over there is Mark or Susie or whatever. And it hits a point if you do it enough where people learn what you do. And they'll just start pulling you around and be like, this is who you need to talk to.
I gotcha.
So if you're consistent enough, you can get to that point. And that's what I love. And I'm just like, I don't really have to do the awkward, like, let me just sneak in.
I have a really awkward story for you about a networking event. My favorite story. It's a gold one. So at an event in Worcester, and it's like, I want to say 100 people networking at a sushi restaurant. And I'm talking with somebody, and like, they did have some food on the bar. In my defense, there was some type of appetizer for the people networking, but there were also diners, like people that were sitting down with their families eating. And I'm in the middle of a conversation. I was starving. And like, this waitress is holding a sushi platter as she walks by. And I was like, oh, hold on. And I grabbed one of the rolls and ate it because I thought it was past hors d'oeuvres. And she goes, ma'am, this is somebody's entree. This is not.
And you're like, well, tell them it's delicious.
Like,
enjoy it.
Like, why would you walk around like that? So they couldn't serve it to the table. So she put it on the bar and everyone had sushi. But that was like one of the most embarrassing things. One of the most delicious too.
Yeah.
But I got so many people coming up to me talking because I saw this whole thing happen.
Yeah.
So that was.
And you're like, you're welcome. Now you get a piece of sushi.
Oh my God, please do.
So I was at this event and I was talking with a woman. It was loud. There's a group of us. And we're all telling each other what we do. So this woman is talking about how she makes pet toys.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's great. I have a dog. And we're going through this whole conversation. And she's saying all these things. And I'm missing a really key part of this conversation.
I feel like I know where this is going.
I think I may have told you this one already. And
I haven't heard, so keep going.
Oh, that's great. Like, I would love to support you. Like, after, like, send me a link to the website. Like, I would love to buy some of the dog toys for my dog.
Yeah.
And she's just looking at me like,
I feel like you missed a word.
What is going on here? And so then I'm showing her photos of my dog. It's a whole thing. And I'm like, what am I missing here? So I'm like, you sell dog toys? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, cool. Why is this such a hard conversation? So the next day we're at this like other event and everyone gets up to introduce themselves. So I'm sitting there listening to this intro. She does not sell dog toys. She sells adult toys.
Oh, okay. That's where I thought it was going. Fantastic.
So I
thought she was going to be like petting toys. Like
No.
Okay.
So she was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like,
I showed this woman my dog.
My gosh. I just told the whole group of people, I'm going to buy adult toys for my dog. And I'm sitting here completely mortified. And I'm like, what do? How do I redeem myself? Do I bring this up again? Do I just let it go?
No way. You absolutely bring it up.
So then I'm 100%. Like, I decided to bring it up to somebody else who was in the conversation.
Yeah.
To be like, did anyone else realize what I was doing? And everyone was like, not entirely until later.
Yeah.
Now it all kind of linked. So it ended up getting back to her and it was just really funny. But I sat there mortified.
Oh my God.
That is what I was telling somebody.
See, I think opportunities like that are gold. Like I like joking around. Like I love humor. Like that to me is gold because now you have that connection with that woman, you know, because it's like, all right, like
she'll never forget it.
She'll never forget you.
You should photograph her toys. Like how would you?
With your dog.
With my dog. This would be a really fun branding situation.
Yeah.
Yours definitely was. I don't think you have any like embarrassing ones with networking. Do you remember the golf one? I was like networking at a golf. I don't golf, but I was at a golfing networking event. And I was out with 3 women in my team that were really good golfers. It was 94 degrees. I had my mom's golf clubs.
Probably humid.
Humid as hell. I dressed like I knew what I was doing just for the occasion. And it's my turn and I take the driver and like I was a field hockey person. So like I wound up. And I hit it, and my hands were so slippery from sweating that the club flew out of my hand, went 20 feet behind me, and all you do is hear the women yell, "Get down!" Turn around, everybody dropped to the ground, and I had to go through the bushes to find. They were just leave the club. I'm like, they're my mom's clubs.
Like I need it.
I need that. I'll get in a lot of trouble. I still live at home. And like I was like going through the woods to try to find the club. I never went back to that networking group again.
Nope,
I was mortified.
Never.
I could have killed somebody with the club. Like Wow.
I'm glad I don't have any stories like this.
Oh my God.
If I really thought about it, I probably have plenty more.
We could write a book about
We should.
that should be the podcast. Tell me about your
Awkward networking stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yours definitely wins. So
Love it.
you should get her as a client.
I actually haven't spoken to her in like 3 years.
Yeah.
But I should
Start
figure
up
out
how
where
the
she
dog
is.
toys.
Oh, I know. I feel like that's like a recession-proof industry too.
True.
So
100%.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So we literally went on a complete tangent
Yeah.
all over the
Now
place,
I'm
right?
thinking about swinging
Yeah.
golf clubs and
Yeah. 100%.
exotic dog toys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, cool. Well, we appreciate you, coming out and having a conversation with us. Hope everybody kind of gets a better idea in regards to, I honestly, a lot of things that we talked about, I think it took it even beyond the photography piece of it, right? I think one of the biggest pieces that people should take away with this is no matter how big of a company you have, you should really kind of plan it out and make sure that the people that you're talking to are the right people,
Yes.
right? And I think you bringing up the point of having that community behind you, right? Because we're the same way, and we truly believe in it, is that we have, it doesn't even have to be one. It could be multiple people, right? Of those people that you are tried and true, that you've used before, that do a good product. If you're a company that's looking for a marketing, whatever, if you find somebody that has that network, it's like gold.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because they're going to do that hard push to get the people that you need to get the job done.
Yep.
In a long-winded way. That's what I took away from this conversation.
I had a client tell me once, they're like, oh, you could be our entire creative department. I'm like, sure, let's build it out. I have the people.
Yeah, sometimes you need that, I'll call it a general contractor that literally is able to pull everybody together to get the job done. So, I really appreciate you coming out and having this conversation with us.
Thank you.
So one thing we like to do kind of at the very end is just tell everybody your information. How do they get in contact with you? How can they work with you?
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
So super simple. My website is prospectstreetstudio.com. Studio is singular. Or info@prospectstreetstudio.com. It's the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Okay, cool. You on LinkedIn as well?
I am. It's just Carrington Crothers.
Okay.
You'll see a little CC there because some people know me as CC. I won't answer anything.
Cool.
So,
And we'll
me
drop
too.
the links in all the videos.
Yes, yes, we absolutely will.
Well, thank you so much, Carrington. This was a lot of fun.
yes, no, this was great. Thank you.
100%. I wish I could have added some stories to.
Maybe I get you out networking more and trust me, they'll come.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'll start
So,
dragging you around.
perfect. So, well,
Awesome.
thank you again.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, cool.
End scene.
Boom.